Abortion has been something that's been around for a few hundred years now, and it's improved tremendously over time. According to FindLaw.com, abortions were very unsafe in the 1900s, and women who survived the abortions often became sterile. But today, as Sarah Torr put it, outpatient procedures such as abortions have improved, and often women, nowadays they have people on staff who make sure that the environment is sterile, that the procedures are safe, that they're following the laws and regulations that they're supposed to be. Have you ever thought of the true significance of an abortion? Today I intend to persuade you that a woman who has an abortion is not unethical. I'm credible to speak on behalf of this topic because I have done extensive research. I will include 4 main points that discuss the advantages of allowing women to have an abortion, such as reproductive choice protects women from financial disadvantages. Many women create severe health risks for themselves by performing abortions on their own. It empowers women with the choice of what happens to their own body and lives, and many women are unprepared for the responsibility of a child. Now, my first point that I will argue is that reproductive choice protects women from financial disadvantages. Now, as Diane Harris put it, in 2010, a USDA report said the average middle-income family will spend at least $12,000 a year in the first year of a child's life. Now, once the child turns 2, that number will increase $500, which will go to $12,500. Now, that's an extra $500 on top of mortgage, car payments, food, phone bills, etc., etc. Now, not only are expenses an issue, but so is time. Parents have to work extra hard to make up the money in order to pay for their children as well as themselves. Now, I took a poll at Cheddar Scratch Kitchen, which consisted of 15 coworkers who have children, and on average they reported that they spend about $200 a week on their child, and if they have 2, that number doubles. Next, I will argue that by not having abortions readily available, many women create severe health risks for themselves by performing abortions on their own. Now, from an article called Negative Effects of Induced Abortions, abortion can lead to cervical lacerations, which are cuts and scrapes within your cervix, in the uterus, which also can lead to premature births. In some cases, although it's pretty rare depending on how the woman actually performs her self-abortion, she can also damage her other organs such as intestines. Now, research also indicates that 30 to 40% also experience sexual dysfunctions. Now, this can be both short and long term. And infection, excessive bleeding, as well as cervical shock can also occur. And women, like, this may not seem something that's quite common, but actually it is, such as Josephine from Florida was a victim of rape and ended up conceiving a child. Now, she couldn't afford an abortion, and the nearest abortion clinic was at least 80 miles away from her. So in an effort to get rid of her baby, she ingested poison. And naturally, you guys are going to be like, oh my god, why would you take poison to give yourself an abortion? But, of course, this poison that she ingested hospitalized her, and in order for her to recover, she had to have several blood transfusions. Now, ingesting poison is one way, but women also use a coat hanger to try to get the baby out. They also take pills that they know they shouldn't take while they're pregnant. And if they had abortions available, this wouldn't necessarily be an issue. My third point I will discuss today is the empowerment that women receive when they're given the choice of what happens to their own body. Now, women can maintain their constitutional rights, that being the pursuit of happiness. So if having a child doesn't give them happiness, then they should have the option of terminating their pregnancy so that they can pursue their happiness. Now, women should also be able to participate equally in the social life of our country. Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor wrote in the 1992 decision in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, she said that the ability of women to participate equally in the economic and social life of the nation has been facilitated by their ability to control their reproductive lives. Now, I understand that may seem like a lot, but basically what Sandra Day O'Connor is saying is that if women can choose what happens, whether or not they want the child, they want to keep the child, or they want to terminate their pregnancy, this gives them the power or even the label of being equal in society. Finally, I will argue on behalf of how an abortion can help a woman who is not ready for the responsibility of a child. The article Abortions in America said that in 2008, 21% of women had 21% of the women who had an abortion had one because they were not ready for the responsibility of a child. Now, 21% may not seem like a lot, but that's 1 in 5 women who had an abortion. Also, U.S. abortion statistics said that in 2012, adolescents under the age of 15 had the highest abortion ratio than any other age group, that being 817 abortions to every 1,000 live births. That's over 80%, and those girls were 14 years old and younger. Now, naturally, they're still considered a minor, meaning they're still considered a child. So that would be a child having another child. And they're only a freshman in high school. So that being said, they're clearly not ready to support a child when they're still learning how to support themselves. In conclusion, I have presented you with a concrete background of how it is not unethical for a woman to have an abortion. By discussing reproductive choice, presents women from financial disadvantages, many women create severe health risk by performing self-abortions. Giving the woman the option of having an abortion empowers her with the choice of regarding her own body, and it helps her find another way to deal with the fact that she would be unprepared for the responsibility of a child. Today I've given you evidence to persuade you that having an abortion is not unethical. After my presentation today, will you be a supporter of pro-choice? Do you now see that allowing a woman the option of having an abortion is not unethical?